The Incredible Hulk has been my favorite comic book character ever since I was a little kid, and over the past few weeks I've been thinking over how I could make a build for the Hulk in Elden Ring, and here's what I came up with. So for this run, I will only be allowed to deal damage with my fist weapons, and I will be allowed to use the Blessed Dew Talisman and the Physic Flask with the Crimson Burst Crystal tier, and any other tier of my choosing besides the ones that restore health, to simulate the Hulk's regeneration ability. And because of that, I will not be allowed to use the Crimson and Cerulean Flasks to restore health and FP. I've been also meaning to do a challenge run with a time constraint for the longest time, so for this run, my goal was to beat the Elden Beast, and I wanted to do it in under 5 hours. So the overall rules were: beat the game in under 5 hours, only use health overtime items for healing, no weapons besides the Kestis, no HP and FP flasks, no summons,
No dick, no balls.
So with the intro out of the way,
Let's get to it.
I've created the character, made quick work of the grafted scion, removed the flasks from my equipment slots as soon as I spawned in, and started collecting the items required for this run. Thorin from Melina, the Green Turtle Talisman, the Physic Flask, Dectus Medallion, Radagon's Sword Seal, bought the Kestis Fists from the Isolated Merchant in the Dragon Barrow, then in the Altus Plateau, I bought the Pants to complete the look, and finally moved on over to the Smithing Stones while bearing 1 and 2. With my Kestis upgraded, I went over to the Weeping Peninsula to defeat the Tree Avatar, which drops the Crimson Burst tier, and went over to the Watchtower to get transported into Leyndell, where I got the Blessed Dew Talisman. After speeding through almost the entirety of the game in 1.5 hours, I fought my first boss, Margit. Also, I forgot to record this, but before the fight with Margit, I killed Grail in the Dragon Barrow and pumped all of the runes that I got from her into strength. In Stormvale, I got the Iron Whetblade and then proceeded to fight Godric, who was, guess what, not difficult. And by the way, the health overtime items like the Blessed Dew Talisman and the Crimson Burst tier will save my ass quite a lot during this run. Moving on from that, I got the Axe Talisman and then fought Renala as my second Shroudbearer. She was by far the safest and quickest option, as I didn't exactly feel confident in fighting Radahn at that point, and in the end I think picking her over Radahn was the right call. After that, I smashed the 3 Sentinel Guard in the capital, get it? Cause the Hulk's catchphrase is Hulk Smash, and I said how I smashed the 3 Sentinel. I'll see myself out. Anyway, progressing further into the capital, I defeated the Golden Shade Godfrey and went straight into the Morgoth fight, which was, for lack of a better word, painful. Morgoth and the Godskin duo are the only 2 boss fights that give me the most amount of trouble and that I'm always anxious to attempt, especially with builds similar to this one where you have to be up close and personal with the boss. But anyway. After losing over half an hour fighting this guy that would have come in handy in the long run for me to acquire better talismans, I finally defeated Morgoth, went into the mountaintops to grab the third bell bearing, and moved on over to the fire giant, on whom I also spent quite a substantial amount of time, 20 minutes to be exact, which was making me feel quite nervous.
Sun's getting real low.
So, the Godskins. As I've stated previously, I am always anxious when fighting them, and frankly speaking, I just hate this boss fight with a burning passion. If I wanted to beat the 3.5 of them, I would most definitely require the use of sleep pods. I took care not to damage them with the sleep pods, put both of them to sleep, and then proceeded to beat the 2 of them to a pulp. Oh, and during one of the Godskin duo attempts, something happened which made my heart sink. Now onto Malekith. What I found really frustrating about this one is that the Kestis doesn't have a lot of reach as a weapon, and 3 times out of 10 my attacks would just miss Malekith, which was annoying, but nothing that jump attacks and stance breaks could not fix. Oh boy, look at the time. It's Bully Gideon o'clock. Am I the only one who feels that the Kestis is arguably one of the better weapons to use when fighting Godfrey? Because it sure does feel like it. I think I did a pretty alright job in the fight with Radagon. What do you think? So, with the Elden Beast down and 4 hours and 50 minutes on the clock, I was able to beat Elden Ring as the Incredible Hulk. Now that I was pretty much done with the challenge, I wanted to refine this build a little bit more and add some tools that would fit the character, starting with Rock Sling, given to you by Gurank, and Horalu's Earthshaker, which can be obtained from Horalu's Remembrance. All pretty fitting choices for the build, which I was all too eager to test out against a few of my favorite bosses, Radahn and Mohg. So, there you go. A fully functional and fleshed out build for the Hulk that you can use in PvE and PvP. Thank you everybody for watching, have a good one, peace.